Om Yasyantarnadimadhyam nahi karacharanam namagotram na sutram no jatirnaiva varna na bhavati purusho na napumsam na cha stri nakaram no vikaram nahi janimaranam nasti punyam na papam Tattvam no tattvamekam sahaja samarasam sadgurum tam namami Sada Shivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Apara Satchit Sukhavari Rashehi Yasyormi Matram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Gabhiram Chinta Vihinam Hridi Chintayami Deham Mrinmayavajjadatmakam aham buddhirna tasyastyato Naham tattadabhava supti samaye siddhatma sadbhavataham Koham bhavayutah kuto varadhyam Drishtvatmanishtatmanam Soham spurtitaya arunachala shivah purno vibhati swayam Karunapurna sudhabdhe Kabalita ghana vishwarupa kiranavalyam Arunachala paramatman aruno bhava Chittakanja suvikasaya Tvai arunachala sarvam bhutva stitva pralinametat chitram Hridyahamityatmataya nrityasi bhoho te vadanti hridayam nama Ahamiti kuta ayati tyanvishyantah pravishtayatyamaladhyam Avagamya swam rupam shamyatyarunachalatvai nadivabdhau Tyaktva vishayam bahyam ruddha pranena ruddha manasantastvam Dhyayan pashyati yogi didhitim arunachalatvai mahiyam te Tvayarpita manasa tvam pashyin sarvam tavakrititayam Satatam bhajate ananya pritya sajayatyarunachalatvai sukhe magnaha Hridaya kuhara madhye kevalam brahmamatram hyahamaham sakshat Atmarupena bhati Hridi vishamanasa svam chinvata majjatavam Pavana chalanarodhad atmanishto bhavatvam Yasmad jatam jagat sarvam Yasminneva praliyate yenedam dharyate chaiva Tasmai jnanatmane namaha Sorry, last 2 days we didn't have the satsang as announced. It's because of some Mahasamadhi of a great saint with whom I was associated for last almost 33 years. He was really a mighty tapasvi. He's not a purely jnanamargi, but essentially he was. Many people ask whether he is my guru. He is not my guru. He was like a companion. And it's a mystical companionship. Spiritually, people who have had experience will understand. He was of course 91 years old, so much distance of age is also there. I told that he was a mighty tapasvi. The sense, normally we cannot even imagine such austerity. That kind of austerity I've seen him. That too, I was associated with him only after his 60th year, up to 91. 58 to 91 perhaps. So in that time, for almost 30 years, we saw a daily life. Spiritually, people think that some fantastic attainment is important. You sit under a banyan tree and something happens. After that, nothing is needed. Ultimately, after much struggle, we will understand simple things are more important than the so-called poetical, aesthetic, colorful appearances. The simple thing is daily life. You sleep, you wake up and you go to sleep. In between the time. Like that, all your life. This is life. The duration where one side is the recognition of the deathless, birthless being. The Upanishad says, employ your knowledge there and recognize that deathless being. Vidyaya amritam ashnute. By knowledge, you recognize the immortal being. And on the other side, this body, this mind, this life, prarabdha, destiny, every person it is unique. That is why people, when they used to come to me telling their family life or some problem, I will naturally say, I cannot guide you. I can give you a torch and you have to go to your home. I do not know the way. Because each person is carrying each person's destiny. It is unique, it is different. There everyone has to struggle with this light and find the way out. The Upanishad called it as mrityu, means death. This life, entire life, the Upanishad called it is death. It is not life, it is death. And what does it contain? It contains time. And in that time, what do you fill? You fill with activities, karma. And where from it arises? From your ignorance, which we call as swabhava. So swabhava, karma, and fruit of action. And from their vasana, again this circle. This is mrityu. This is death. So knowing the self, recognizing the self on one side. On the other side, you have to play this double role, keeping death on one side, immortality on the other side. So this death, you live with death. That is why Bhagavan, in the first song, he spoke about the immortal being. And the second song, he spoke about death. So death means simply nothing but what we call as our relationship, our family, our personality, our body, our mind. Everything is different and every moment it is different. So that is death. So in that plane, I found this saint. His name was Lakshmana. You should not confuse him with Lakshmana Swami or Lakshmana Sharma. I am all telling this because he had not much connection with Bhagavan. Tiruvannamalai. He was in our place in Kerala. And he was in Calcutta before that, working in railways. Was a family man, but it lasted only for very few years. After that, he led a sannyasa life. And After, in Calcutta itself, he had that Japa Yoga. While working itself, he was born in a very, very traditional Vedic family. His father was a Ghanapadi and was an Aupasaka, Nitya Aupasaka Agni, and in that fire he was cremated. In that tradition he has come. So from very young age, very traditional. And in Calcutta itself, I will just, in a small form, I will tell that story. From his very young age, he was initiated by his father. One sadhana that he had, we cannot call it sadhana because he will not like the word sadhana. So he was a very peculiar person. No, nothing, it is not very easy to associate yourself with him. He was like fire. And not very easy to deal, such a person. So generally I will not even advise people to go to him. Because he is like a cutting machine. But it needs tremendous alertness to observe him. So he had nothing to do with the world. That was his life. So in Calcutta itself, while there, his daily routine had his Panchayatana Puja and Surya Namaskara. Surya Namaskara means he will do almost 200 Namaskara. And there he completed, before coming to Kerala, he completed about 5 crores of writing Ramanama. In books, writing Ramanama, it is 5 crores. Then after coming here, he heard from somewhere that Tyagaraja, the Saint Tyagaraja, the classical composer, Saint Tyagaraja, had done 96 crores of Ramanama and he had a vision of Rama. See, his life is very inspiring for retired people because his real tapas started after retirement. And for the last 30 years, which I am going to narrate, not a cold, not a fever, not a physical problem by which a single day he missed his tapas, anushtan. Not even a single day. So, after coming here, he heard this Tyagaraja's life, 96 crores, and he said he had a sankalpa to have 100 crores of Ramanama Japa. And he said, I don't want Ramadarshana. He said, let Tyagaraja have his Ramadarshana. I don't want Ramadarshana. I don't want anything. He used to constantly chant a Divine Mother's verse, Na mokshasya akamksha. Vibhava chaname. Na vijnanapeksha. Shashimukhi sukhechapi na punaha. Atastvam sanyache janani jananam yatu mamavai. Mridani rudrani shiva shiva bhavani ti japataha. This verse used to chant. I don't have desire for moksha, nor for wealth, nor for any worldly pleasures. Used to tell me, I will put a board outside, no expectation, no desire. One more thing used to say, useless to the world, surplus to the requirement. I will put a bird like that, board outside my other ashram where he was staying. So at that time, when he came here, I was just 15 years or something. So that association was like a support for me at that time. And every day we used to have satsang. You know what that satsang is? Fight. It is not simply affectionate, loving association. It had love behind it, but real fight over things. Because he will not accept anything so easily. So, but the mystery is every day the fight will happen, but never it got cut. The association never it got cut. So that actually, see, that is a relationship. Spiritually, somewhere you get connected deeply. So that fight was so, but morning 10 to 12, 2 to 4, sometimes night time up to 8:30, we used to have these fighting sessions. So then, after coming there, that is 90, then 93 or 94 I think, he started this project of 100 crores Ramanama. Ramanama means simply Rama, Rama, Rama. It is actually, it's like a spurti, that keeping, used to say that energy must be kept high. It should never go down, it should be kept high. That is tapas. So there is no purpose for it. Nothing to achieve, nothing to attain. It is actually like a Jivan Mukta's life. And there, every day, more than a lakh of Ramanama. It's about 20 years project. So every day, more than a lakh, he has to chant. And nobody to serve. No attendant. No servant. It was somewhat a bigger ashram there. He will clean the place. He will cook his food. He will do his puja. He himself will do all these things and his Surya Namaskara. Everything. In between, he will meet us in a particular correct time. You cannot sit more than that time. You will just wake up and go. And he will not attend any functions. I have learnt one thing from him. People will come and call for marriage, wedding, or some other function. He will first say, all my anugraha is there. You should not compel me. People will naturally say, no, you have to make a visit and come and do anugraha. Then you know what he will say? The Divine Mother has instructed me to do this tapas. So I have to do this. If I come there and break this, it is not good for you. Then nobody will call. Then nobody will compel him. It is not good for you. So now I am able to say these things so naturally, but it was in a way, I used to tell people that you have to observe him from distance. That is very beautiful. It is very risky to be associated. So, that kind of perfect discipline from morning 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And he will say, 9 o'clock, if I sleep, it is over. No thought, nothing. Again morning 4 o'clock. And every day was a thrill for him. And those days, in my younger days, this state of samadhi experience used to haunt me. So sitting in that state and had a lot of attraction. And of course, story of Ramakrishna, Bhagavan, these things have started coming and that ecstasy. And I am seeing a person who is chanting so many Ramanama with so much discipline, with so much every day the same enthusiasm, but no visible trance or anything in him. Nothing. In those days, one of the points in which we used to argue is this, that I used to tell that you should have this samadhi experience. What I meant samadhi is, now I am telling you, it is a yoga sthiti. It is not a jnana sthiti. It is a yoga sthiti. So that is also, in a way, that is my samskara, so of course. So I told him, this is needed. And he will, you know what reply he will give? Divine Mother has instructed me to chant Ramanama. And I am chanting this like a prisoner will break stones. He has to break the stones. If he is not doing that stone breaking, he will get beaten by the policeman. Like that, the Shakti is making this body do. The body has to do this work. And then he will say, all these mental experiences are needed, not needed. These are all mind created things. Then I will say it's not mind created. All those things will happen. So it's all mind created. I don't want anything. There are all these experiences, mind is there. And I will say the thoughtless state is needed. And he will say, let thoughts be there, but let not them repeat. It is not bad that thoughts are there, but you should be careful that thought about something, some person, some individual, if it is constantly coming, attachment is there. So it should not be there. These things were all very important because Bhagavan said, at that time I was reading Bhagavan's gospel where Bhagavan says, ignore the mind, scorch the mind by ignoring it. These things, here we see in another different language somebody is expressing. And the mind could not put any hurdle in his physical life. Physically, it was so disciplined. No outer yoga, nothing. Even Surya Namaskara, when I tell you, people who have studied yoga will think that it is the yogic Namaskara. No, it is just Vaidika Namaskara. He used to tell his father was like a Rishi. Every day morning, he will wake up. By 4:30, he will go to a river and take a dip, bath and all his anushtana and sit for tapas, japa. And every day he will see, my father going, I will see. And they were all very orthodox, so they will not even wear the usual cloth. See, this cloth is, we will call this Madi Vastram. This is, for the sake of purity, this cloth will be generally worn. But this is costly. So they used to wear, we call it Kumbhala, when plant leaf. With that leaf, they will make a loin cloth. With that, the children will wear, so that it is pure. Because you can throw it every day, throw it away. So I was wearing that, and I followed my father. He went there, had a dip in the river, and started his anushtana, sitting in japa. Then he started playing, jumping from this pillar to that pillar, here, there. Then his father asked him, why are you doing like this, like a monkey? Come here. And gave him a mantra and said, do namaskara. He used to say, before that I was completely dumb-headed. So he gave me this mantra and said, do namaskara. I will do namaskara till my father finishes his rituals. No number, nothing. It is perhaps 1 hour, 1.5 hours doing namaskara. And that was the opening for him. So after that, I told you, he came to Kerala in 90. There, for almost 30 years, this daily life of Ramanama. And there is no Rama associated in that Nama. He used to say, this Nama itself is Brahman. Basically, he had this Shiva Puja every day. He used to say, Nama itself is Brahman. And this Rama Nama was before Rama also. It is not this Avatara Purusha Rama. Before that also this Rama Nama was there. It is Shabda Brahma. So this Shabda Brahma, he was chanting for 20 years. Systematically this tapas was done. It was finished. After that also he had his own routine of Panchakshara. So there was no physical problem till 2017 or 18. By the time, by about 2004 or 5, I was more living in Tiruvannamalai, not Palakkad. So once in a while I will go there. And some devotees were associated with it. It is very difficult to associate with him also, because he will be very strict. You should be like this, you should be like that. That he will say and he will go. He will not compel and all anything. So after that, he had while going to the market, a scooter came and hit him. Then he had to be brought somewhere, no one else. So he was brought to one ashram is there was in Hosur, where there is a Dakshinamurti, Veda Patashala, very beautiful place. There he came in 2020 he came, September, Navaratri time. After that he came Tiruvannamalai and stayed here for few months. Then he was taken back to Hosur. There all these Veda Patashala children were there around him, nobody else. Otherwise easily he will get disturbed. He cannot endure every kind of people. So he stayed there in his regular, usual tapas. And last 3 months I have not seen him. Somehow it was something from within told me not to go there. So I could have gone and seen and be with him during his last moments, but there was something which told me not to go there. Perhaps it was needed that I should not be there. He was asking for me. Even last few months before also they said, he was asking only one thing, whether I have come. But this is 2 days back, in the date, Bahula Panchami, that was Tyagaraja's Samadhi day. Exactly as like his 96 crores. He heard Tyagaraja like that, Tyagaraja Swami's Samadhi day. On that day, last about 2 weeks he was not keeping well. Not much recognition of people. But they were all looking after him with great devotion. So they made him sit in a chair and were feeding him. Children were chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. And the last, that sloka, Artha Vishanna Shitilascha Bhitaha Ghoreshu Javyadhishu Vartamanaha Sankirtya Narayana Shabdamatram Vimukta Dukkha Sukhino Bhavantu. That verse stopped. Just was sitting, and just sitting he dropped his body, and that body was brought to Tiruvannamalai in a place. We had a samadhi there, a little about 12 kilometers near Adiyannamalai somewhere. So he was, for so many years I was associated with him. He was a great tapasvi. And he was, I cannot say what my relationship was with him. Because his path was not my path. So the lifestyle, everything was different. At the same time, we were so deeply associated. Very closely associated. That great epic, that era, ended in this Bahula Panchami. Very beautifully, peacefully, not much suffering. Many things I will remember about his life or his words. And for him, his guru was Hanuman. And that is simple, because in his childhood, he read Ramayana, and the only character whom he liked is Hanuman. So he had a vision of Hanuman many times. He had that darshan of Anjaneya many times, Nukatesha also. Many mystical experiences like that. And in my outer life also he had great influence. Many things, because of him, many things happened in my prarabdha life. Otherwise, even I would not have entered Grihastha Ashrama. Because of him only happened these things. So many things he was behind. And that is his samadhi happened. Actually, I had to go. My plan was, after I was telling Bettina Ma that I have to go tomorrow. So yesterday I was able to go, but his body came here. So that is a brief story of a very great yogi. And from his life, I was telling many of these people that one thing that I want to tell is, behavior is not spirituality. Because if behavior is spirituality, he is not a spiritual person. Because he is not very well behaved, and these things was not there with him. So behavior can be there in a great saint. It is expected that a saint will be very calm, he was of course calm. He was, what else? Because nothing to do in the world, very peaceful, very joyful in his own life. But he will not compromise with any person, with anybody in any matter. Sometimes his idea of spirituality everyone cannot accept. But he was like that. And he will cook his food. He will not take food. Last few years he had to take in the ashram. So that itself he didn't like. But there is nothing to do. So the ashram people were feeding him with love. And that he was accepting. So this is the brief story. Enough. So this is why last 2 days back, as announced, satsang was not there. So just a few minutes back I was telling Sadashiva that for retired people it will be an inspiring life. Because even after 60 years you can have a thrilling life. And another lesson is, more than any so-called attainment, everyday life is important. Morning to night. We used to say in Vedanta, asuptehe amritehe kalam nayed Vedanta chintaya. From you wake up till you sleep, till your death, spend the time in Vedanta vichara and manana nididhyasa. Fill it. He had his own way of telling things. He used to say, every day spend some time uselessly. In the sense, no selfish activity. You are doing something for the divine, not for the world. And there also no phalecha, no desire for the fruit. I want meditation, I want samadhi, nothing. Just like a yantra, like a machine you do, and do not bother about anything. This will help, certainly it will help, because then the bhava might come, bhava will go, but you will not be attached. Otherwise, sadhakas will come, say, I was having ecstasy, now it is not coming. I was having meditation, now it is not happening. Few days I had these things. So all this spring season, rainy season, summer season, all these seasons will come and go in spiritual life. Gita Bhagavan says light, darkness, activity, these things will be there. So you should go beyond these things. Sthita prajna. So that should be there in everyone's spiritual life. So it was really a mighty being. Nothing could shake that life. And you can simply see the fact that for 20 years or more than that, not even single fever. Nothing special. Only ordinary food. And very spicy food he will take. But he will cook his food. He will cook his food. And he will not take food from anybody. He will cook. It will be spicy for ordinary people. Normal food. And only once he will cook. And he will take food in morning 10:30. And the same food he will eat in the evening. No health problem. Nothing. Till that almost 88, 89 years. After that only something came because the body has to live. So that life has some message. It can be inspiring. And he used to say, it's not sadhana. He will say, don't use that word. Because sadhana means it is business. You want to attain. There is a sadhya. This is not sadhana. This is simply bhakti. Simple bhakti, no purpose, nothing to achieve. The moment you say sadhana, there is something to attain, somewhere to reach, something to become. So all problem. So no sadhana. This is, you should not, another thing he used to say is, you should not do karma. And constantly is active. He will say you should not do karma. Karma means motivated activity, getting into some cycle from where you cannot come out. Not entering into any field of action from where you cannot come out. So, having your own self-imposed routine, that was what he was doing. That suited him very well. And anyone who can have such a life, that will be very beautiful. And many time he used to be in Maunam. Then I used to tell him that is the best place, time when I can bring somebody to see you. Because if you speak, it will be difficult. So that is the best time. It will be, for a look, he will be very radiant, very like a rishi. But if he starts speaking, he will spitting fire. It's not easy. So, this is the life. One story with which I was very familiar for so many years. Now that is over. He was not even wanting samadhi. He said, or just get it burnt away. Then last day he said, when a crow dies, you will make a pit and put it there. Like that you do. Because he was staying there. So for that he told like that. But Bhagavan has told that a yogi's body, a sannyasi's body should not be burnt. And other people who came there, they also wanted like that, so it happened as a samadhi. Okay, now so much time. Anyhow, that is a good spiritual story. Very real life story. It's not something which I have read or I am narrating. And once in Ananda Ashram, Swami Sachidananda ji told me about Krishnabai Mataji. All of you might have heard. He used to very closely speak to me. He said, Amavoda Mahime, Bhakti, Anbu, adella okay, the love, that glory of Mataji, that is all right. But it's like staying with fire. Sometimes when she becomes angry, it's very difficult to bear. Then I just laughed. I said, yes, Sirikirel. He asked, why are you laughing? I said, 10 Matajis put collectively. With such a person, I am living so many years, 20, 25 years. In that aspect I am saying. So, somehow Bhagavan conveyed to me, if you can stay there and swallow it, you don't need to do self-enquiry. No self-enquiry is needed because the self will not be there. The self will get burnt. That is why when I came here to Tiruvannamalai, many people who were close with him, one of the person Chandru, he came here, he said, the shock absorber is gone. Now we are finding it very difficult. Because otherwise I will take everything. So now all of them has to share things. But of course that was also anugraha. That was also one way of anugraha. So this is, so self-enquiry is not a technique. It is not a method. It is Bhagavan giving us a light with which we can see how the I arises within. And life is a power which will constantly poke this eye. And the Guru Tattva gives you the light to see where it arises. People, we can read Bhagavan's teaching. Bhagavan says, find out where from the eye arises. So we sit in a Padmasana and people, many sadhakas, they ask, we are not able to see anything, we are not able to see anything. Sitting and meditating and tracing the I thought to the source is only a training to make you familiar with that method, which will work when life makes you carry that I, hold that I. Every incident, every event in life it will force you to have that individualistic sense. Lalita Sahasranama, there is a nama, Labdha Ahankara Durgama. Durgama means very difficult to cross. And why difficult to cross? You have got something in you which makes it difficult. And what is that something? It is Ahankara. Labdha Ahankara. You have got some free gift. Labdha means you have got it. And what have you got? Ahankara. And the Shakti is constantly making you have a Ahankara. And because of that Ahankara, you find it very difficult to go to other side, to become free. Durgama. So there, every moment this Shakti will bring something, activate something to make you assert I. And Bhagavan says, find out where from this I arises. When the I arises, what Bhagavan is giving is this alertness with which you become so vigilant, so alert. And you see how the I arises, how the I subsides in the heart. Then you see your nature is not this I. Even the state where the I is not, in the deep sleep, you are there. In the death also you are there. In Samadhi also you are there. Why you need Samadhi? Because you have a state free of this I, some duration. And you wake up and you recognize that I am there without this individuality, without this ego. And that is my real individuality. That is my real being. So, that impersonal presence, existence is the Atman. It is my real nature. To make you recognize this constant fight of two forces will be there. One is the Shakti from outside, the other is the power of grace from within, the power of the Atman from within. These two, confluence of these two makes the life. Bhagavan calls it Arul Poratam. Arul works in Aksharamanammalai, comes this word, Arul Poratam. From heart, the grace arises, and constantly, as long as you are alive, you need this. Because constantly action will be happening, events will be taking place, incidents will be happening, individuals will be coming near you, emotions will be arising inside. Time is there, your Swabhava character is there. You will constant river of death. River of death. All these things makes the river of death. Because once you enter, it's like, orbit. Once you put your hand, you go round and come back. Another birth. So, you become immensely alert, vigilant, jagrata, and you see what you are made of, what your real nature is. Here remains the real spiritual practice. And when you recognize it in your very being, the real mantra you recognize in you, the Shakti Spandana, you realize in you. When we put some mantra from outside, it is a Spandana. When you are really initiated by a master, the Spandana works, otherwise it will not work. So this Spandana goes from outside and slowly it will merge inside, and then you find that there is a primordial Spandana, primordial throb inside you. You have not cultivated it. It is not the result of your effort. It is not the fruit of your sadhana. It is the Srotas, the Atma Srotas, the current of the inner being. Ulladu, Unil, Aladu, Ila, Adishaya, Shakti. As Bhagavan says, there in you a Adishaya Shakti, and a strange force, a strange power, a flow, a current of that Shakti. You just touch it, inwardly you locate it, and you are awakened, which Bhagavan calls as Spurti. Bhagavan calls it as Spurti. Shankaracharya also calls it as Spurantam Sada. Antaha Spurantam Sada. Nitya Spurtimayohamasmi. Nirmala Chidakashohamasmi. As Shankaracharya in one verse says, Nitya Spurtimayohamasmi. The Vedanta Manana also becomes a Spurti. By listening to an Acharya, this Manana becomes a mantra. Constant Manana, at last Chitihi, Tatpada Lakshyartha. That Mahavakya's essence is inside you simply throbbing as Chitihi, as the force of consciousness, power of consciousness, as Bhagavan names it as Aham, Aham iti, as I. The dance of Shiva, dance of Arunachala. Achalane ayinum, achabai tannil achalayam ammayatiradu. Arunachala is Achala, but in the heart center he is dancing, expressing his pure form in front of Divine Mother. Divine Mother means the world. Divine Mother means the world. When the Jnani is in the awakened state, he is carrying this Mahashakti in his being. That is, Shiva is wearing this serpent, this Vasuki in his neck. And that is not serpent, that is the Kundalini Shakti, the Mahashakti which he is wearing in his being. That Shakti is ever alert. This Lakshmana Swami about whom I was talking used to say, I used to tell him, why you become so much again and again saying the same thing and getting angry. He used to say, I will tell, they will not be able to practice. He used to say like Ramakrishna. I asked Divine Mother, why I am telling so much but they are not practicing anything. And she said, it will go inside and it will become their nature. Then like a serpent, the moment you make a small sound, it will just take the hoots. Like that it will become their character. Then only they will be able to do it. And not because I say something they will do it. It is not possible. It will go seep inside and it will become their character. Then like a serpent taking hoots, the moment it is needed, it will wake up. It will wake up. And just then that will become their nature. So that Shakti is being that dharana, that is what Shiva is wearing in his being as serpent. That Shakti Ramana Bhagavan was wearing in his being. That is what, when devotees came, it will take some time. First they will come and see Bhagavan as nothing special. A very old man, normal human being. Nothing, very good person. Many have written like that, good person, nothing special. And one day goes, second day, third day, sometimes they get hit by that Shakti. Then slowly they see this is not a human being, normal human being, no? As Balram Reddy said, I wanted a Sadguru. I thought it is a Sadguru here sitting. Then I found it's Sarveshwara. That is the recognition. So it's like seeing that that Shakti manifested there. So that Shakti is neither in the control of Guru, nor can the disciple steal it by some technique. You can only create a situation where you are associated with the master and the Shakti Lasya. That is what Kavya Kanta Ganapati Muni says, Shakti Lasya Pravritte. The Shakti has its own Swachanda Shakti. Sarvan Ullangya Shasana. That's one name in Lalita Sahasranama. Ullangya means transcending, not bound by any rules. Not bound by any rules. So without any rule, that Shakti which the master is wearing in his being will operate in the disciple. And for each disciple it might be different. In its own way that Shakti plays upon the disciple. And what the disciple receives by that Shakti Pada, to recognize it and to own it and to wear it in his being, he needs the knowledge. There the Shravana Manana, everything is needed. Otherwise, you can do Shravana Manana in recorded form. All Google, everywhere you get all the Upanishads, Prasthana, Traya, Yoga, everything is. Why you need a personal guru? Unnecessarily going to some person, all difficulties. If the person is like this, it is more difficult. So why you need all these things? Because that Shakti, Guru is a Shakti. Guru, but you should not get deceived by this kind of Guru and all these things. Some problem might arise. So they say Shastra. Because the Guru should be a person who has come in a very authentic thing, and what he is teaching should not be his own selfish imagination. So Shastra is needed. These are all basic things. But that Shakti, when it becomes active, that Shakti is when you associate with a great being, somewhere you come and touch that thing. That is what they call as mystical. We cannot define it. Many people have written in Bhagavan's presence, the presence is so condensed to give you that, initiate you to this spiritual tradition. This Arunachala, I will call it Arunachala Sampradaya, because Ramana Maharshi has no separate Sampradaya. He clearly belongs to the real sagely tradition Shankaracharya, the only person about whom Bhagavan has written, apart from his own experience and Bhagavad Gita and Devi Kalotram, the Agama Shastra, is Shankaracharya only. Nothing else he wrote authentically. And he said, the Shankara who wrote Atma Bodha, the same Shankara is writing in Tamil now. Such a song also he has written. Achangaran Tunnumen Tunjumen Ulle. The same Shankara is here. Tamil Sholvadum Annavanandri Matriyarulan. In Tamil also the same Shankara is writing here. So there is no question of, you cannot say Ramana Maharshi belongs to some other tradition, this tradition, nothing. So that Bhagavan was very careful. Although he didn't outwardly say anything, but he was very careful not to misinterpret it. So here, but at the same time, this Shakti is needed. That is why you need the presence of an alive presence, a presence which is very much alive. That is what we call a satsanga. Real satsanga is that. Bhagavata, Krishna is giving this teaching to Uddhava. There Uddhava says, Bhagavan, give me some simple method by which I will have this experience. Bhagavan said, Krishna said, you are my friend. And you have the attitude of a servant to me, a dasa. Hence, I can reveal that secret to you. Otherwise, you will not believe me. Brityaha tvam me brityaha suhrit sakha sugopyam apivakshyami. Krishna says the greatest secret I will reveal to you. And what is that secret? He says, through yoga, through study, through yajna, sacrifice, ritual, many things he lists. All these things are all lesser methods compared to association with saints. With those who have attained it. Their association, by that, even animals attain. It says, Yatu dhanaha, mrigaha, khagaha, gandharva, apsarasaha, nagaha, siddha, charana guhyakaha, vidyadharaha, manusheshu, striyaha, shudraha, antyajaha. Everyone get initiated and they attain that state by associating with saints. So this is the message given by Krishna to Uddhava, where he says, this is the great, and why did he say, you are a friend, that is why I reveal the secret, because people will not easily, they will think that Krishna is telling this to consider him as their guru. Satsanga, and if I tell this, people will think I am telling this so that people will come to satsang. No, it is not needed. So it is not about this satsang, but with any association with a true saint, it is so powerful. Bhagavan said, he had his schoolmate, Rangan, was suffering immensely due to family problems. So he came to Bhagavan. And Bhagavan was speaking to him as like early days. Many stories of their village, everything. And then he found Rangan was suffering so much. And night, when Rangan was rolling in his mat, trying to sleep, he could not sleep. Then Bhagavan compassionately sat near him and touched him. And he opened his eyes. He said, Rangan, shall I tell you one thing? At that time he was perhaps considering Bhagavan as his friend. Of course, a great being. Bhagavan said, because of your great fortune, you have got the association of a Jivan Mukta. Just think, who is saying this? Bhagavan himself is saying, because there is no other way that he can make him understand. By putting him as an object, Bhagavan is saying, Jivan Mukta, the association of getting a Jivan Mukta's association is very rare. You have got this. Then you need not fear now. Because that great blessing has come to you, now you need not fear. That was like a great assurance. So, this is the essence cream. Today our Ulladu Narpadu is this. Nam ulagam kandalal nanavam shakti ula or mudalai oppal orudalai. Or mudal means an essential thing is behind this world, this worldly life, our worldly life. We think we are having this world experience. Actually, we are not having world experience. We are having the experience of Atman, which we wrongly call as world. We wrongly call as man, woman, karma, kala, etc. The Upanishad Rishis says, Tvam Stri, Tvam Pumanasi, Tvam Kumara, Utava Kumari. Tvam jirno dandena vanchasi tvam jato bhavasi vishwato mukha. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad, the Rishi says, O Shiva, you are the young man, you are the young woman, you are the old man, walking with his stick, you are everything in life. And suddenly a parrot is flying, he says, Nilaf Patango, this bird is you, Haritolo Hitaksha. And suddenly a lightning happens, a rain comes. He says, this is Shiva. Tadit Garbha. So these are all Parameshwara, your form. Attanayum Tanamavan. Everything, whatever you behold, whatever you see, whatever is happening inside you, it's all idam sarvam yadayam atma. Whatever is experienced by you is Atman. This one Mahavakya is enough. If you have that kind of faith, simply listening that whatever you are experiencing is Atman, every thought is Atman, every feeling is Atman, nothing else exists other than that Atman. So this is the essential thing. One has to reach this conviction somehow, where one is absolutely free of all conflicts. Vikalpa. Vikalpa, conflict means vikalpa. If we consider anything other than the truth existing, thoughts will happen. Ego will arise. Emotions will come. And there will not be peace. So, nothing exists other than Him. This is one way of seeing it. Nothing exists other than Him. The entire Bhagavata was written by Vyasa to tell this. This is Tatparya Nirnaya of Bhagavata. Narada says, if you speak even if about dharma, the mind will work. That is the initiation that he gave. You should convince that only Bhagavan exists. Na tataha anyata kinchana. Not even a little bit exists other than Bhagavan. If you accept the existence of even a little bit of thing, the mind will start working. Mind means the sign of ignorance, where you consider something exists. This is there, that is there, this person is there, this event, that. So you carry this Advaita Jnana in you and then work in the world. Your prarabdha. Anything that comes to you, do it, puja, worship it with this knowledge that Bhagavan has come in this form. Once somewhere in Bangalore I told, life brings in prarabdha, sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain, so sometimes trouble. What to do when trouble comes? Somebody asked, so much trouble has come. Then I said, you should worship it as Troubleshwara Mahadeva. Many kind of Mahadeva is there, so you consider it as Troubleshwara Mahadeva. And recently, few months back, one lady said, that is my Mahavakya. I heard that talk, And then that worked like a Mahavakya for me. The Troubleshwara Mahadeva is my Mahadeva. So all the troubles I consider as Mahadeva. So this is, see, like this, we have no purpose. Nothing to achieve, nothing to attain, nowhere to go. What will you achieve? One day, it's just like this, you catch a hold, go. So better, when you are alive, have that Bhagavad Dhyana or Atma Dhyana. Time is life. One way of defining life is time is life. And in that time, what you put decides whether you are free or whether you are getting bound. That's all. So if you put Bhagavan there, if you put Atma Dhyana there, you become free. Any moment you put worldly things, you get bound. Pratibodha vititam matam amrtatvam hi vindate. The Upanishad says, moment by moment, every awareness you become awakened, you are immortal. Bhuteshu vivichya dhiraha. Every person who comes to you, every event that happens in your life, you recognize it as Atman. Constantly the river of freedom is moving. But you say, this person came, this should not have happened, that should not have. Something happens, what should you do? What will you do? Okay, we will forget. One force of Maya is forgetfulness. To make you remind this kind of association will help. We sit again and again, remind. I remind you, you remind me. Sometimes we forget, remind it. That's all, Ramayana, Rama, you can see Rama as Avadara Purusha, also as a Jnani. So, when in the forest, missing Sita is screaming, weeping. Where to go and search? And then, that Sugriva, the monkey king, they are not monkeys, they are kinnaras. He said, see, I have also lost my wife. I am resourceful. Why are you weeping like this? Shoko nashayate shauryam. Sorrow will destroy our peace, our valor. So you should be very, very stable. And you know how Rama takes it? He takes hold of Sugriva's hand. He says, you are a great friend. You are reminding me this. You are a very great friend because people tend to forget. So anyone who reminds you is a guru. Whenever somebody is making you remember this, that it's a Guru Tattva, Guru Tattva. Guru is not a person, it's a Tattva. That Tattva operates through various names and forms. Again and again, you wake up to the principle that Atman alone exists. Nothing else. All the names and forms. The usual example is gold becomes ornaments, as garland, as necklace, as crown, as bangles, many things. But it is essentially gold. Like that, one pure consciousness, Satchidananda, has happened as all the names and forms, as everything, as the physical body, as the mind, as the eye inside. Prahlada says, Tvam vayuragni ravanir viyadambu matraha pranendriyani hridayam chid anugrahasya sarvam tvameva saguno vigunasya bhuman. Even the good, bad, everything you are. Nanyatvadasti, nothing exists other than you. And that is the state of a Jivan Mukta. We will see tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mamatma bhavasi tvameva, tato na vachyam mama kinchidasti. Itatameshtam gurumam tathaiva, tvam atmanatham ramanam bhajam.